Hi everybody, Mike Perusich here. Welcome to KC CHIROpulse, brought to you by Kats Consultants, helping chiropractors keep their pulse on success. So welcome today. Glad you're here with us again. I'm Dr. Michael Perusich. And, today I want to talk about having your head in the sand. As we consult with chiropractors across the country and teach seminars and visit practices and those kind of things, I see this happening all the time. The doctors get so focused on one area of practice, or they get so sucked into getting burned out or getting tired of practice because it's the same old thing every day, that they just become an ostrich. They just stick their head right in the sand. And we may have played in the sand as kids, but it's time to get out of the sand. When you play golf, you don't want to be in the sand trap. You want to get out of the kitty litter, so to speak. So we got to make sure that we don't get our head caught in the sand. So where are some of the places that chiropractors oftentimes get their head caught in the sand? Well, there's a multitude of places, and we don't have time today to talk about all of them. But, one of the places is with finances. And, the area of finances is kind of interesting. I hear a lot of doctors not planning their taxes out with their accountant. I talked to one the other day who said, yeah, I just don't want to bother my accountant. Hey, you know what? Professional to professional. You are the customer in that situation. You absolutely should be tapping into their expertise to find out if you need to buy some equipment at the end of the year so you can avoid taxes, if you should be saving more so that you can be prepared to pay for things down the road. Do you need a line of credit? I see a lot of doctors running a business like nobody else runs a business by not having some kind of working capital line of credit. And then when cash flow is a little short in those couple of months a year, what are they doing? They're digging into their own pocket and pulling money out to support the practice. That's absolutely the wrong thing to do. That's having your head in the practice. I see other doctors not having a budget. Not having a budget, not operating your business by having some kind of budget. Well, you might as well drive across country without a roadmap. You have to have a roadmap. In fact, having a roadmap, having a plan is one of the 7 habits of highly effective people. You've got to plan out, and part of planning out in finances when you run a business is knowing what your budget is. How about staff salaries? That's probably the biggest line item on your P&L. And yet a lot of doctors don't really have any idea what their whole salary expense is. Are you paying them appropriately? Are you paying your staff what they deserve? Are you paying them too much sometimes? So if you have a bonus program, for example, are you overpaying your staff through the bonus program and not leaving enough to help grow the clinic? And that's another spot. Do you have any kind of reserves that you set aside each and every month? You know what? Things happen. Things come up. Things arise. Your x-ray machine breaks down. Your table breaks down. Good Lord, we need our chiropractic tables or we can't adjust patients. You have a computer that goes bad, needs to be replaced. Or you have a computer that gets a virus and it needs to be replaced. So there are always things that come up. And heaven forbid, what if something happens to you? What if you get an illness and you have to be out of the clinic for a week or two? What if you have an injury and have to be out of the clinic for 4, 6, 8 weeks? That happened to me several years ago. And I actually hurt my elbow, had to have surgery. I was out of practice for 4 months. 4 months I was out of practice. Thank goodness we had some reserves and associate doctors and those kind of things. But had I not planned ahead, had I kept my head in the sand, we could have been in real trouble. So we have to get our head out of the sand with things like our finances. Here's another area that I see doctors keeping their head in the sand, and that's with their marketing. This one always kind of cracks me up, really, because marketing can be so simple, and yet I see doctors going in about 6 different directions with their marketing. One is they totally have their head in the sand, and they're just not doing any. Well, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't like marketing. I don't want to be in sales. Well, I'm sorry. If you own a business, guess what? You're in sales and marketing. Just understand that, because it's a truth. Or they get sucked in They get sucked into these big, shiny programs where somebody's going to come in and bring them all kinds of new patients and all kinds of leads. That's always a good one. They're going to bring you leads that you then have to follow up on and do the sales pitch to get those leads to come in. And you're paying $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for these kind of programs. And they're not really doing anything for you other than creating more work oftentimes for you and your staff. So I see doctors putting their head in the sand all the time. Marketing, I'm here to tell you, is super simple today. Listen to me. Pull your head out of the sand. Just listen to me for just a minute. Marketing is so simple today. See, something like 89% of the world population is on social media at any given time. Now, if I'd have told you 10, 15 years ago to go out and find some great places where there's a lot of people to do spinal screenings and health talks and those kind of things, we did it. We did it all the time because we wanted to be where the people were. Well, my gosh, if 89% or whatever the number is, let's call it 80%. If 80% of your community is in one place at any given time, oh my gosh, we would step all over ourselves to get there. Well, that's where they are. They're on social media. So docs, if you're not on social media in the correct way, and there's a right way and a wrong way, and if you don't know the right way, I want you to give us a call at Kats Consultants because I want to teach you the right way. It's so simple. It's cost effective. It doesn't require much of your time at all. And we've got to get our head out of the sands and start marketing correctly. And part of marketing and part of having your head in the sand on marketing is not understanding where consumer mentality is right now. Since the pandemic crisis, consumer mentality has completely changed. And it's changed in a way that the old ways of marketing, and when I say old, I mean what we were just doing back in 2019, doesn't even remotely work anymore. In fact, it probably hurts your practice to be marketing like that. And yet there's not a day that goes by that I don't get on Facebook and Instagram and places like that and Google, and I see doctors still marketing the old way. And it's killing their practices, and I know it is because we're getting calls from them all the time. Help me, can you save me? Can you help me pull my head out of the sand is basically what they're asking. So we've got to do that. Here's another area, staff training. I see a lot of doctors, and you may be one of them, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but they show up right before they start seeing patients. They're arriving 30 minutes to an hour after their staff does. They're the first one out the door in the evening. They're completely gone over lunchtime, and they never have any interaction with their staff. Well, guess what? Your staff spends more time with patients than probably you do. So don't you think you should not only build a relationship, but also build up their skill level, their training, their expertise about chiropractic, and make sure that they have good policies and procedures in place? The answer is yes. You absolutely have to. If you're not doing that, you have your head in the sand when it comes to staff training. And staff training is not something that you do once. It's not something you do on the first 3 days on the job. It's something you do every day, every week, every month. You should be having daily huddles, probably more than one. You should be having staff meetings every week. You should be having strategic planning meetings every quarter. You should be taking staff to seminars or doing seminars online or however you get your information. You should be plugging them into training. And training should happen on a multitude of levels, from marketing to procedures to processes to patient relationship building to anything related to their job. The other thing is they really should all be cross-trained, at least as much as possible, or at least as much as you're comfortable with. Why? Because what happens if they get sick or have a sick kid or take a vacation or, heaven forbid, they have an accident or injury and they have to be out for several weeks? What are you going to do? Your staff has to be able to make up for the loss of that person being gone, whether it's for a few hours, a few days, or a few weeks. So we have to not have our head in the sand when it comes to staff training. So we have to find great ways, and we have them here at Kats Consultants. We have all the staff training tools you need. You have to find ways to plug your staff into some great staff training that's relevant to their jobs, relevant to your business, and it's going to help you grow your chiropractic clinic for the long term. Where else do I see doctors sticking their head in the sand? It's their statistics. This is a big one. They want to look at, and we've done this for years in this profession. We've looked at just a couple of basic statistics. We've looked at patient visits and new patient numbers. And I know you know what I'm talking about, because whenever you go to a seminar, maybe you go back to homecoming or something, or you're at a state association meeting, and you're sitting around talking to your buddies in between classes. What's everybody do? They talk about how many new patients you're seeing. They're talking about how many patient visits you saw in a day. Well, you know what? I'm here to tell you that has nothing to do with your success. It has nothing to do with your success. I'm going to repeat one more time. You have your head in the sand if you think new patients and your patient visits are your monitors of success, because they're not. Statistics go far deeper than that. When we look at a practice, we want to look at the trends. We want to do a deep trend analysis. How profitable are you? What does the trend look like between your services and your collections? What do the trends look like with your AR? What do the trends look like on the cost of delivery of care? We want to understand all the statistical measures, not just 2 or 3 or 4, and then try to apply those against some old industry standards. That doesn't apply anymore. I want to know what the true financial statistical health is of your practice. And the only way to understand that is to do a deep statistical analysis and do it over time and trend out where your clinic's going. And a lot of you aren't doing that because you have your head in the sand. Here's one more. We have our head in the sand sometimes about our headspace. You know, we get busy in chiropractic and we're seeing patients and we're giving our patients all this energy, and we're focused on patient outcomes and hopefully focused on the other things that I just talked about. But sometimes we don't focus on ourselves. It's been said that from time to time we have to sharpen the saw. Stephen Covey, seventh habit of highly effective people, said, you've got to sharpen the saw, which means we've got to work on our headspace. So from time to time, we've got to step off the mouse wheel, and we've got to read a good book. You can see my library behind us, but you've got to read a good book that's going to fill your head with some good positive things. You got to put yourself around people who bring positivity to your life. You've got to refill the cup from time to time. And you've got to think about some things that are non-chiropractic related. And if you're not taking at least a week every quarter off from your practice, and there's a way to do it. I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, I can't be out of my practice 4 weeks out of the year. Think of all the revenue I'll lose. There's a way to do it without losing your revenue. And if you want to know how, just give us a call. But you should be taking 4 weeks off a year and taking either a vacation or a vacation at home or just a short getaway in your area. But you should be doing something to get away from the practice. Because when we don't, we get dull, we get tired, we get burned out. And I see too many doctors getting burned out. At Kats Consultants, we have our mastermind program. In our mastermind program, we focus on, and we do this more than once a month, and we have a great big annual event every year, so you have one of your 4 reasons to travel. But we focus on headspace and restoring that energy back to you, which in turn goes back into your practice, which in turn goes back into your success. So get your head out of the sand. Don't be the ostrich trying to just avoid things, but focus on your finances, your marketing, your staff, your statistics, and your headspace. Get your head out of the sand and watch your practice grow. I'm Mike Perusich with Kats Consultants. Thanks for tuning in to KC CHIROpulse, brought to you by Kats Consultants, helping you keep your pulse on success. So please check us out at katsconsultants.com. And from all of us here at Kats Consultants, stay informed and stay well adjusted. Thank you.